Napoli bounced back from 2 games in a row where they didn't score, where they lost in both of those games, and this could give them the right momentum going forward. And I kept saying they're reliant on 3 players. It's Lukaku, Anguissa, McTominay. It's always them that seem to score the goals. Now we got to put Neres in that list. For him to get 4 goals so far, he proved to be the decisive man. But as a team performance, I was so impressed with this Napoli team. Learn from the mistakes, and they deservedly win this and go to the final.
It was really nice as well, wasn't it, to see Romelu Lukaku on the bench. We didn't get to see him come in, but to see the passion of him celebrating with Rasmus Højlund and Neres, as you mentioned, it felt like this group is very together. Milan, on the other hand, Grella, could you say even before the game, yes, Leao wasn't available, but Modric didn't start. Did that show where Max Allegri's focus is for the rest of the season just by the 11 that he put out today?
Yeah, I'm not sure what Max was thinking and what he sees down the line or what's most important to him. I'm not sure, but it's clear to me that at Milan, Modric is still a fundamental piece for them. At 40 or something years old, it's a little bit crazy to think about, but when he doesn't play, there's a big difference in the team. Leao as well. When he doesn't play, there's a big difference in the team.
Gabia too.
I've wondered. Well, my question was always, and I've said this since the beginning, since they were up there in the Serie A race. Obviously, I've always said that back 3 always scares me. And coming off a lot of clean sheets, coming off a lot of good defensive performances, and I kept saying, I think this back line kind of scares me. When you watch Tomori, he's liable for a mistake at any given time. Pavlovic is their best player, probably their most influential player in the last few weeks. Gabia, when he plays, doesn't convince me. Di Vinter, I think, he's the guy that's supposed to push those 3. He's the guy that's supposed to replace one of those 3, or even they had ideas that he was going to get into that starting 11. You watch that performance from today from Di Vinter, I would be like, I don't think you can count 100% on Gabia. I don't think you can count 100% on Di Vinter after today. Højlund had him in his pocket. It was embarrassing, some of the moments. So those are the worries that we've had from Napoli from the beginning, that they're not the final product, and I still have those worries for sure after today. They didn't look good without Modric, and they certainly don't look good with Di Vinter in that back 3.
They're still better with Gabia, though. I agree with what you're saying, but they're better with Gabia.
After Di Vinter's performance tonight,
yes.
I don't think you can play him again. I'm serious. I think you have to look down the line and say we have to have someone better.
He's also not a central center back, right? He's good as a braccetto. This is Rasmus Højlund's best game in a Napoli jersey. He bullied him. He almost made Højlund look like Lukaku. This is what I wanted from Højlund all season long. It was the hold-up play. It was the confidence. And when you've got a center back that's consistently just backing up and dropping and giving you the space, why not have the confidence to do these things? That play right there, you see it on the goal. I mean, it's a phenomenal finish, by the way. It's perfect. But how much space can you give a striker like this?
He's not there. Di Vinter's not there in any of these clips. He's not making it more difficult. He's not feeling him. He's not pushing him. He's not sliding and saying, okay, fine. I haven't defended this situation well, but now I'm going to give a last-ditch effort and try to block this shot. It was like he's not aware what's going on around him. And credit now, yeah, you could say, we could talk about Di Vinter and how poor he was, but you have to give the credit to Højlund and say, well, Højlund made him look really bad because he was powerful, he was strong, all the things that we know about Højlund. He was powerful, he was strong, he backed in, he created a lot of trouble.
That's what we've been waiting to see from Højlund.
For sure, exactly. But obviously there's moments in the game where Højlund gives it away or he takes a shot that probably shouldn't or whatever, but he made Di Vinter look like a really poor defender today.
I think Napoli, 0-0. They press sometimes, but mostly they just sat back, organized, 5-4-1 against a Milan team without strikers. Pulisic hardly touched the ball. And Nkunku, you can tell that's not his natural position. When he's back to goal, the difference between him
Where's his natural position?
In the strike.
On the bench? I think that's where.
Probably right now.
For sure. Not starting for Milan.
Probably right now, he looks like a very ineffective player. And for $40 million, there's rumors that he's a Furlani signing, that Allegri wasn't really signing off on him, that it's a sweetheart deal for Chelsea to try to keep that relationship alive.
What?
There's all these little things coming out now. Milan and Chelsea have a great relationship. I think they want to keep that relationship with Chelsea very good for the future. So sometimes they got to sign an Nkunku who was injured. You sign a guy for $40 million. The guy can't play 90 minutes yet.
Keep the camera on that.
Keep the camera on me, guys. Come on, you're telling me you don't believe that? You don't think that you think that Nkunku's a player they needed? They did not need Nkunku.
That's not the part that we're arguing.
I know, but since you guys are picking me up on that point, I'm telling you, Nkunku's not a player they needed. I think that you signed him. They have a great relationship with Chelsea. I think that all figures into it personally. Okay.
Just in case they missed it the first time.
I'm going to double down on that point. Look, back to this game, though. Napoli defended well. They're going up against a Milan team that has no strikers, right? So they can sit back, say, we dare you to cross the ball in. You guys are going to have to put one of your midfielders up top, like Loftus-Cheek, to actually head the ball in, and no one could even come close. And Napoli were organized, disciplined, typical Conte football.
You know what it was? You ever have a staring contest with someone? It was the two best staring contest people in the world. Antonio Conte against Allegri, they're going to look each other in the eye, and whoever's going to blink first was going to lose. Whoever was going to score first in that game, the game was going to become easy for them. And they were going to be able to say, okay, let's go. We put the line here. Napoli sat in for the rest of the second half, right? Credit to them. They did a great job at it, and Milan couldn't break them down. If Milan score first on the counterattack that Salamakers has, he draws in the defender, gives it to Pulisic. Pulisic scores. Then Milan says, okay, we'll play back here and we'll hit you guys in the counter, which they're very good at. So whoever was going to score first, whoever's going to blink first was going to lose the game.
Just by the way, you mentioned Christian Pulisic. Do you think that was because of Luka Modric's absence? Because we know every time he picks up the ball, he's going forward. He's looking for the attacking, connecting passes. Do you think that's why Milan couldn't get it going moving forward?
No, I think it's unfair if you just blame Yashadi. Yashadi had two really good long balls over the top, but in the most part, he's the kind of player that in that role, you're not taking chances, right? You're just playing it sideways back. And when he got the ball, look at it. He had 10 players, oftentimes 11 players in front of him, Yashadi. What are you going to do? You're going to go sideways, you're going to go back to the defense. And that was pretty much Milan today. Sideways passes, back to the defense. A lot of the possession just here. I mean, look at all these arrows. How many arrows do you see that are vertical? 2 or 3 out of 67, I mean, from Yashadi, because there was just no options. There was no one making the run. It was oftentimes against a very deep team. He was getting the ball at the halfway line or even inside Napoli's half, but there was just such a clogged space in the middle. So I don't put this on Yashadi. I put this on a Milan team that doesn't have the outlet. You don't have the guy to whip the ball into, like Højlund did today. Højlund played a great game, holds up play, can actually physically absorb contact from behind and keep his balance. Milan don't have that, so that puts a big strain where everything's out wide and there's no one in the box to head it in.
The game was pretty stop-start, though, wasn't it? Our rules expert, Christina Unkel, is here with us. Christina, good to see you. Let's just start with the Rabiot situation, because we talked about it at half-time. The boys are all in agreement that it shouldn't have been a red card, yellow at most. What did you think about it?
So I'm actually going to agree with the boys. Maybe I could take some steam off of Matteo, but I do determine that it should not be a red card. And here's a couple of different reasons. When you first look at it, you think of it as this kick out, right? You're going to see this foot on the ground. Does he have the opportunity to play? And you see this kick out from behind. Now, there's two considerations when you're taking a look at that keep that from being, in my opinion, a red card or a direct red card or an obvious red card, is that the contact in the point is on the top. It's the laces going into it. And that ball is very, very close to where it is. If the ball was on his right-hand foot and he kicked it and contacted his left foot, I would have a different analysis on that, right? There's no opportunity to play the ball, but because we have those two considerations, it's with the laces of his boot and that ball is on the left foot. That puts us more back into the consideration of this is more of a yellow card. We would say it's borderline, but more of a yellow card than a direct red card for a kick.
So, Christina, though, this was not given anything, right? If I'm not mistaken, this was not given anything. So you're saying that you think it should have been a yellow card?
Yeah, so it doesn't rise to the level for VAR recommendation for a red card. That's a good point. It does not rise to the level, so it's appropriate for the VAR to not have recommended down. However, if you are on the field, the decision that would have been preferred and would have been expected was this for at least to be a foul and a yellow card for reckless play.
Interesting, Christina. Just before we let you go, was a lot of fouls being called, wasn't there, throughout the game? It felt like the game really never got a flow. How would you rate the referee today?
Oh, yeah. So I think that's one of the hardest of these games, especially when you're going into like playoffs, is you always have that staccato. You have the punching, you have the shoving, you have the holding. And these games are harder to referee truly than the final. Like on these types, when you have this arm and the swing off onto the head, you have the brace. You're asking yourself the question is, are the players even coming into play? Are they coming into fight? That's what this game felt like. If you call those simple, quick fouls, you're going to frustrate the players. It's finding that balance. Here, that's where the art of it is. I would, if you were to give a rating, I would say it would be a B+. This was a difficult game, not because the referee made it difficult, but because the players also made it difficult themselves by not playing football and playing each other.
Christina, a thing I see you in football matches that are really like cagey like this, especially when an Italian team has the lead, is like you see foul, 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 and for the the neutral fan watching is really difficult to watch. Do you agree or think that the worst recipe for a football match is a lot of fouls with no yellow cards? Because I think at some point you have to give yellow cards because so that those players can't keep trying these little clever things off the ball or slowing down the game. So I just think the worst recipe for a football match is a lot of fouls and not enough yellow cards.
No, you hit on the head, right? At the end of the day, your voice is going to, or your lack of those calls are going to lose their impact. Yellow cards are supposed to be deterrent. So if you're trying to manage it, you're trying to keep your yellow cards, you're trying to manage, and you don't see the behavior changing, then yes, you have to change your direction. And that might not be something as simple as ignoring it or not giving yellows and just calling the simple fouls. That might be something as simple as what we say, taking the air out of the game and bringing your two captains over and saying, I'm done. This is enough. Let's make it public. The next one will be a yellow and you shoot one. No offense, but you hit a yellow card on one team and then you hit a yellow card on the other team, right? And then you kind of really establish that layer. But that is the art of officiating, and that's the difference between being a good referee and being a great referee.
Set the standard. Christina, thanks so much. Good to see you all. See you soon.
All right. See you all soon.
Here's just a look at the contributions that we've seen from the leaders of Napoli. Scott McTominay, 5 goals, 2 assists he's got so far this season. David Neres also in there, 4 goals, 4 assists. And Rasmus Højlund really racking them up now, 7 goals and 2 assists. We kind of saw a different side of Scott McTominay today. I like seeing that bite from him.
I think even the way that he answers that question, it just shows the class that he has. What a fortune it is for Conte to have a guy like that in the locker room. Number one, to not talk bad about your old team, which is probably low-hanging fruit. It's an easy thing to do. He grew up in the Man United youth system. But even today and the beginning of the season when he had to play out on the left when Kevin De Bruyne plays, yeah, no problem. Today, because they're playing a 4-man midfield, he has to be involved in a lot more of the build-up. It limits him because if you're in a midfield 3, he could go forward, he could get in the box more. That's where he was scoring a lot of goals. He says no problem. For me, he's become the symbol of Napoli, Scott McTominay. The fight, the aggression, the leadership, coming through in the big moments. He's evolved. He's become, I didn't know how he could get better from last year. And it's this part where he's even doing the suffering aspect. It's not the glorious stuff. It's not the goals. It's not the assists. It's everything. He's the spirit of this team. I love him.
The worst thing you could have ever in the world is a mentality where you think the world owes you something, or you think your ex-club owes you something, or you think you've done enough and, you know, you were really great last season, so this season you're owed this playing time. You're owed nothing in the world. Outside of football, the same thing. You're owed nothing in the world. And that tells you a professional like Scott McTominay, his mentality within that conversation he's having, no, Man United give you the best opportunity. This manager has given me the best opportunity. This is going to give me the best. No excuses, no easy way out. All on him, all like, hey, I've got the opportunities, I've got this, I've got that, constantly pushing himself. We talk about how many goals he scores and how he scores them and how great he is, but the mentality is the monster that he has behind the scenes that people don't get to see, the way he's just like, every day is a new day. He doesn't expect anything given to him, and I think that's his secret weapon, why he's so successful.
Yeah, and I think Antonio Conte coaching at Tottenham and at Chelsea really helped him, right? Because he knew these players. He's played against a lot of them. Some of them worked. Obviously, McTominay, Billing, and Gilmore, maybe not so much. But it's clear that when he joined, he's like, right, I want a certain kind of midfielder. And we know Conte so well. Look at his Juventus midfield. He wanted guys who can run box to box. And where better to get guys like that than in the Premier League? So then he's also got to identify, I can't get the finished product in the Premier League. I can't go and get a £100 million signing, right? So I need to find a guy in the Premier League who has everything I like, dynamic, box to box, but that for whatever reason's on the discount rack, Scott McTominay and Manchester United players, especially the last few years, no better place. I honestly, one of the great signings I think we've seen in recent years in the Serie.
It's so true. Rasmus Højlund as well. You could say maybe now that this is going to be a catalyst to start to try and find
if he plays against the Inter every week, for sure.
Hey, he's on pace for 15
games.
goals-ish, right? He's got 7 in all comps.
Yeah.
That's not a bad return.